Did you ever feel like pushing that door open at work, walking out, and hitting the open road? Well, my name is Nick Kessler, and I teach shop. And this is my buddy, Brian Fulmer. He teaches too. And let's not forget about our former student, Wolfie. And when summer comes, we turn into a 3-person film crew that hits the highways and byways of North America in style, riding drop top in our 1968 Caddy. Our main mission, to educate you about the places we visit. No classroom rules or lesson plans here. Just complete freedom to show you what this great nation is about. This is Road Trip Masters. This week's episode has us driving to the beautiful Finger Lakes region of New York. And what a better way to do it than in our 68 convertible Caddy. You know, the Finger Lakes was originally inhabited by the once mighty Iroquois nation. By the turn of the 19th century, westward expansion from New England and Pennsylvania began to change the area into what it is today. With industry giants such as Kodak and Corning Glass, the Finger Lakes also provided residency to famous people throughout history, like Susan B. Anthony, Harriet Tubman, Glenn Curtis, and even Mark Twain. Our first stop is located at the top of Seneca Lake, in the beautiful town of Geneva, New York. Nestled there is the crown jewel of this region, called Geneva on the Lake. And that's where I caught up with Bill, the owner of this stunning resort. What a beautiful place to come stay for a couple of days. What can you tell me about Geneva on the Lake?
We were founded 35 years ago by my father and uncle, and Dad lavished all his attention and design and building skills on bringing this place back to life.
Yeah, I look around. The grounds are absolutely impeccable. Tell me about the person who does all the yard work around here. What's his name?
So we have a small maintenance staff, and I get involved. I
heard
like trimming these hedges. They're the nice privet.
And the view up here. Seneca's right there.
Yeah. We provide a unique location that no other town in New York has. And also, Geneva is a beautiful little town, built about the time of the Revolution.
So Bill and I continued to talk, but I was dying to get inside and check this place out. All right, Bill, we're in the parlor here. What do you use this room for?
We have a complimentary wine tasting all through the year.
Look around the establishment, the dining room. Absolutely gorgeous.
We serve dinner every night, breakfast every morning. In summer, of course, we have lunch on the terrace.
Hey, do we have maybe a room we can journey to, Bill, or?
I think I'd love to show you the loft if we could.
But Bill is a busy man at Geneva on the Lake and had to attend to some other business. So he gave us the keys to check out the loft. Just look at the size and beauty of this room, with its spacious living area, cozy warm bedrooms, and yes, the loft, and beautiful views of Seneca Lake. And remember, every room has its own unique theme, making no two rooms the same here at Geneva on the Lake. I was once told that the best memories are shared around the table, and to share is to love. Ironically, that is the very same philosophy of our next stop in Geneva, Kindred Fare. This place invites people to simply relax and come as they are. And that's where Brian caught up with Samantha, the head chef at Kindred Fare.
All right, so the dish today that we're going to prepare.
So today I prepared a ravioli. The filling is a lemon ricotta filling. So we're using local snap peas and asparagus as the topping for the ravioli. We're going to be using a little bit of parsley garlic oil. Kind of gives some vibrancy to the dish. Oh, there's that sizzle. We missed that before. So we're going to get that started. So we're just going to wait for that butter to melt down a little bit. We've got pasta water boiling back there. All right, we're going to add a little bit of some of our fresh spring snap peas and asparagus. Back here for a little bit of salt and pepper. We're going to add a little bit of local Riesling to that, finish the dish. All right. And then as that's reducing, I'm going to grab my ravioli. This is a fresh pasta dough that we made with flour that is grown and milled right in Trumansburg, New York. It's a black pepper, fresh thyme pasta dough, and it's filled with lemon ricotta. We make our own ricotta cheese here right in the restaurant. And we're just waiting for our raviolis to float, which, you know, they're fresh pasta, so they really only take a few minutes to do that. And then we're going to add them to our sauce here. It's a great dish for an appetizer, you know, meant to be shared amongst a couple people, or maybe it's just your entree. Hopefully you'll get to try it.
Oh, I will. More than hopefully.
So I chowed down, and you could really taste all the locally grown ingredients from the Finger Lakes, just like Samantha promised. True farm to table. I was so inspired to cook that I wanted to get in on the action. And what better place to do that than the New York Wine and Culinary Center, where the main goal is to educate people about all the incredible foods and beverages that come from the New York State region. How do they do this? By offering courses that you can sign up for and literally get hands-on, step-by-step instruction by trained professionals in the industry. I signed up for the Pub Fare course, where I was about to make fried oysters.
Hey, chef, number one thing he asked us to do? Wash these little boys out. Scrub it. Guess I'll start with the fried oyster.
Start off with 3 cups, 1 cup cornmeal. This is my cornmeal. Okay. 3 cups of the flour.
Next, I added some dried mustard, thyme, ground ginger, parsley, onion powder, and lastly, Old Bay. And then I mixed.
When I was little, I used to do it this way. Set that aside.
This reminds me of when I used to be in college. I always like to see what the other groups were doing because I feel like I'm screwing it up.
Then I asked Chef to come over to help me with the cocktail sauce.
When I do this, the sauce, do I use this for the sauce?
No, we'll just use one of our bowls in here.
Thank you.
Yep, not a problem.
Ketchup. Horseradish. Finally, lemon juice. Chef, show me how to do this. Get those juices prepared to be squeezed. Twist, squeeze, twist, squeeze. A little hot sauce to taste. Basil.
Chef came over to get my deep fry oil going and to get the oysters out of the buttermilk batter and into the flour, where we dredged the oysters and put them into the fry oil.
Yeah. When it comes out of the oil, it's actually going to get a shade darker while it's just sitting there.
All right.
Everybody's having a good time and we're still cooking.
Now that I was comfortable with the process, I can bang out the recipes and get them done.
This is my favorite time, tasting time. Fried oyster, a little sauce that we made.
It's amazing to me how something so easy to cook could be so delicious.
Till next time, friends. Good day.
Coming up next on Road Trip Masters, I head out on the road for what the Finger Lakes are best known for, wine. Then we take the caddy to a historic racetrack nestled near a quiet little village. And later, a famous person who changed the world with the click of a button. Welcome back, people. We're on a tight time schedule to visit 3 wineries in one afternoon. The first stop, the Herman J. Weimer Vineyard, right off Seneca Lake, to taste their world-renowned Riesling. Originally from the Mosel Valley in Germany, Herman immigrated to America in the 1960s and brought with him over 300 years of winemaking tradition that existed in his family. I needed to learn more, and that's where I caught up with Fred, the head winemaker here at Herman J. What kind of wines do you have here?
We do about 80% white wines, focus heavily on Riesling. Herman's been making Riesling since 1979. Personally, here at Herman Weimer, we do 9 different styles of Riesling.
Now, the grapes that you're growing here on premise, do you have enough to sustain every bottle, or do you have to bring in some concentrate from other areas?
No, everything that we do is from the Finger Lakes, and nothing ever from concentrate, always from fresh picked, hand-picked grapes. Now, you know, we're competing with some of the greatest Riesling producers in the world, in you know, coming from the Mosel or the Rhine or from Alsace, and it's very exciting.
What are we going to taste right now, Fred? What do we have?
We're tasting our dry Riesling. That's our flagship wine. It's a 2014.
All right, let me give it a little taste. It is absolutely phenomenal. The first thing, and everybody's tastes are different when it comes to wine, but what I notice is a nice crisp but smoothness to it. Best way I can say, consistent. And it's excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers to you. Fred and I talked some more, and then it was time for stop number 2. But before you knew it, disaster struck. The caddy ran out of gas.
How do you feel about this, Kessler?
Well, I'll tell you what, like what happened at 3 Mile Island, stuck gauge. Unbelievable. What are you gonna do?
So I set out on foot to get some petrol. With gas in the tank and a new shirt on, we were off to Bully Hill Vineyards, one of the largest vineyards in the Finger Lakes region. They also produce award-winning white wines, but I heard they also make a nationally renowned sweet red wine that I just had to try. But first, I caught up with Greg, the owner of Bully Hill. Beautiful backdrop we got. Just saw a little deer running across. Grapeland, USA. Greg, tell us a little bit about the history here at the Bully, as I'm going to call it.
The Bully, I like that. And the Bully means good. It's an old English term. Teddy Roosevelt used to say bully all the time, so not to be messed up with the little punks in high school. My family first started cultivating grapes up in the Finger Lakes in 1878, right here on this location. My grandfather, Grayton, and my father, Walter, started Bully Hill Vineyards 1967. 1970 became fully incorporated.
You're about what percentage of grapes into your wine from this area?
Actually 100%.
I love talking to Greg, but it was time to move inside to the museum and sample the Sweet Walter Red. We got a couple bottles in our hand, don't we?
Oh, thanks, man.
Absolutely. And when I'm drinking this, it's just very, very, very smooth. I'm expecting like a dry red wine taste. And a lot of people out there don't like dry reds. It's an acquired taste.
As we always like to say, people talk dry and drink sweet.
I heard you also got another saying here about your Sweet Walter red wine.
Sweet Walter Red, let the whole bottle go to the head, find your honey in bed, and then you'll be snoring all night.
Greg, thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Our last stop on the wine trail is Dr. Constantine Frank Vineyards, where I was told that Dr. Frank was the man that changed winemaking in the Finger Lakes region and was responsible for elevating the New York wine industry from a state of happy mediocrity to a level that commands worldwide attention. And I was here to try their nationally acclaimed sparkling white wine, or better known to you and I as champagne. That's where I met Fred, the grandson of Dr. Constantine Frank, and he explained how they make their sparkling white.
Typically we age these wines 4 or 5 years on the yeast to develop that nice complexity, just like you'd find in a fine French champagne. And we follow the same practices that they do in the Champagne region of France. It's known as méthode champenoise. And basically what we're doing is we're riddling the yeast in the bottle into the neck and then disgorging that yeast. So each bottle is like its own fermentation vessel.
Right.
And this is how the finest sparkling wine is made the world over, including Champagne, France, but also here in the cool climate of the Finger Lakes. So because our climate is similar to Champagne, the results are very similar to fine French champagne.
Yeah, because you're using the same exact process. You see
Right.
the racking right here, and just like you described.
These racks came from Champagne, and the equipment came from Champagne, France.
You brought up an interesting story that over in Champagne, France, it's actually a name of a town,
Right.
and they didn't want their name of their town used for other countries to
Right.
call their sparkling wines champagne. Is that correct?
That is correct. And many wine experts believe that the Finger Lakes is poised to be the finest region in America for sparkling wines. And it's due to our cool climate. Cheers.
Cheers. It is, it's excellent.
Very nice, yeah.
And like you said, you're in the right spot here using the same traditions. Coming up next on Road Trip Masters, the 68 hits legendary pavement to test her strength and might. And later in the show, I meet up with a lovely lady to find out who changed the world with the click of a button. Welcome back, people. We told you we were hitting legendary pavement for the caddy, and what a better place to do it than Watkins Glen International, or as the locals call it, the Glen, where you can bring your car up and run it on this classic course for only 25 bucks. Originally opened on October 2nd, 1948, the Glen was the vision of law student Cameron Argetsinger, who wanted to bring a European style of racing to America. Now the Glen hosts such racing events like NASCAR and Indy Grand Prix, plus many others. So before we hit the course, I caught up with Mike, the president of Watkins Glen. Now, on race day, how many people are we talking about that come in? Let's say you have NASCAR, you have the Indy cars.
IMSA will bring in probably just about 40,000 for the weekend. NASCAR on a Sunday will bring in just under 100,000. In the Wine Fest, we have the biggest wine festival in the entire East Coast, and we're bringing in about 40,000 people for that.
Tell me a little bit about the track. How long? What's the setup like? What's it modeled after? It's not your typical oval or triangle.
No, it's definitely different, and the people that designed it back in the 50s, God bless them, because they probably didn't even know what they were designing. Well, you know, the undulation, I mean, you have elevation change 130, 150 feet here. You have hills, you have rights, you have lefts, you have turns, you have kinks. It's known worldwide as the fastest road course in North America. It is, and we had hosted Formula One here from 61 to 1980. That put us on a map. And then our company bought it outright in 96, 97. and we've just been carrying on the tradition. Last year for NASCAR, first time ever, we sold out the grandstand.
Nice. You know, speaking about these grandstands, I'm looking right at them. These colors look very, very familiar. You know, I live near Nazareth, Pennsylvania.
That might have come from Nazareth. As a matter of fact, it did come from Nazareth. We brought those grandstand up. We needed an improvement here, and voila, that's a la Nazareth.
I brought my 68 Caddy to put on the track.
You're in.
Woohoo!
You're in. You can pace the race.
I think I'm gonna, yeah, I'll be going like 20 or 30 around your track. Hopefully it makes it. We started at the finish line, and we're headed towards turn 1, or as they call it at the Glen, the 90, in reference to its sharp 90-degree turn. How does it look in a real race car? Well, check out one of our former students, Carter Fartuck, as he runs the Glen. Then we headed towards turns 2, 3, and 4, or better known as the S's, where you climb over 50 feet in elevation. Looks like slow-mo for us in the 68, but inside Carter's car, it's a lot faster. Then down the back straight and into the inner loop, where you have to slow down and cut corners in order to prepare for turn 5, which leads you down the chute. Carter makes it look so easy. The Caddy definitely needs an overhaul. Turns 6, 7, 8, and 9 form what is known at the Glen as the boot. This is the largest drop in elevation on the course at over 140 feet, with a series of tight turns that challenge even the seasoned pros. But after turn 7, you were climbing back up, just like a roller coaster ride. See how easy it is for Carter to run the boot? Watch his steering wheel. You gotta have finesse, confidence, and determination, and it'll get you through every time. Lastly, turns 10 and 11 finish this 3.4-mile course. And look at turn 11, another hard 90, just like turn 1. But we had to do it in order to come across the finish line first. And Carter, he came in second. Well, not really. We would like to thank Scott Barton of Performance Coaching for supplying us with Carter Fartuck's racing footage. Next on RTM, a little trip up to Rochester will reveal who our famous person is and has me dressed for the part. So who is our famous person? Well, no other than George Eastman of Eastman Kodak fame, who simplified photography with just one click. Or as George would have said, one click and we'll do the rest. And that's where I met up with Eliza and George to give me a tour of his residence. Eliza, am I right on time?
Punctual as always.
I have an absolutely beautiful house, don't I?
You do. It's spectacular.
Well, not really mine. What can you tell us about the house? As we're looking around, it's just filled with grandeur and beauty.
Well, and you really feel as though George Eastman still lives here.
Now tell me, I looked at the grand organ there, large, huge organ. What can you tell me about that?
So he had an original pipe organ, and this is the original pipe organ. In fact, the house is the size it is because it had to have the pipes on the second and third floor, and it's also what we call, it's surround sound. It's the largest residential organ in the world.
The dining room, beautiful as well.
Yeah, and the dining room, he entertained a lot of friends, but also a lot of people in the community. It was actually modeled after the White House during Teddy Roosevelt's time, so it has a very similar look to it.
Here you have the billiard room. You see all the ashtrays around there. Gorgeous original pool table?
It's not the original pool table, but he did have a pool table in there.
Liza and I continued to talk, and then we headed into the conservatory, where you won't believe what Mr. Eastman did to his house.
George Eastman was told that the acoustics would be better in this room if the room was larger. So in order to do that, it meant he had to cut the house in half, move this part of the house 9 feet 4 inches north using railroad ties, and then fill it in.
Well, I'll tell you what, you can look up at the ceiling, and you can actually see where they moved it back because the panels don't
Exactly,
match.
yeah, we're standing right in the addition.
But the real treasure of this estate is the George Eastman Museum, which houses one of the largest collections of photography and cinema, as well as the technology that was used to capture it. But rather me explain it, I'll let Liza do the honors. After all, she's the expert. What room are we in?
This is our history of photography gallery. So at any time when visitors come to visit the museum, they can really get a context of the history of photography from the very beginnings in 1839 all the way to the present.
What would you say is your most prized collection as far as film?
We do have the entire Technicolor archive, and so as people remember inglorious Technicolor, it's all here. So that includes not only the films, Wizard of Oz, Gone with the Wind, but we also have cameras that would have been on the lots for making Technicolor films as well.
The theater here, the Dryden Theater. Do I have the name correct?
You do, and it's a real treasure for us. And we also are rare in that we're one of only 3 theaters in the country that can show nitrate film. That's the original silver screen film.
So again, it's called silver screen because of why?
The silver nitrate that was used in nitrate film up until about the 1950s. And so it really did have this glistening, glowing effect to it. So you may think that you've seen Casablanca, maybe even seen it on a big screen, but until you see it in nitrate, you've just not seen it as it was meant to be seen.
Eliza, thank you so much. You've been a wealth of knowledge.
Thank you. Thanks for being here.
We're just happy that we can pass it on to our viewers. Thank you so much. I'm going to tip my hat to you.
Thank you.
Oh, and check the time. Time to go. Well, that's it for now. Until next time, people, get out there and hit the open road, whether it be planned or unplanned. So until next time, rock on, people, and God bless America.